huge politicking breaking out over the sensational arrest of Jammu and Kashmir DSP Devinder Singh. The Congress doing a big press conference asking for the Pulwama terror probe to be reopened, suggesting virtually that there may have been a false flag operation in which someone like Devinder Singh may have been involved. The BJP hitting back hard, saying that the Congress is speaking Pakistan's language. The question I'm going to focus on the show is this. You've just had a very sensational arrest. The NIA has just begun its probe. Should the opposition not allow for the probe to be carried out to arrive at some conclusion? Why start jumping to so many sweeping conclusions? Why start leveling such serious charges and suggesting a cover-up when at this moment there is absolutely nothing to suggest that a cover-up is underway?
2 days after the arrest of a deputy superintendent in J&K, Davinder Singh, Congress leader Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary has asked if Davinder Singh had been Davinder Khan. The reaction of the troll regiment of RSS would have been vociferous. The BJP, though, was quick to react.
Why the RSS BJP are remaining reticent on Devinder Singh issue? Is it because he is Devinder Singh? While the same silence and reticence would have been prevailed if the name got turned into Devinder Khan.
इस पूरे प्रक्रिया में कांग्रेस ने तुरंत आओ देखा न ताओ अधीर रंजन चौधरी ने मिनटों के अंदर धर्म ढूंढ लिया। आतंकवाद के ऊपर धर्म की राजनीति करना यह सदैव से कांग्रेस का तरीका रहा।
As Davinder Singh had been the DSP of Pulwama between 2016 and 2017, the Congress connected that with the Pulwama attack. Demanding a fresh probe into Pulwama, Randeep Surjewala slammed the centre. A charge countered by the BJP by falling on the political evergreen offensive of nationalism.
देविंदर सिंह डीएसपी जो उस समय डिप्टी एसपी डीआर पुलवामा में थे, पुलवामा के हमले जहां 42 जवानों की जान गई, उनसे क्या कनेक्शन है? ये देश के गृह मंत्री को स्वयं इस पूरे मामले की तहकीकात करके देश को वक्तव्य देना चाहिए।
I challenge the Congress party and I challenge the Congress president today. आप अगर मानते हैं कि पुलवामा के हमले में पाकिस्तान का हाथ नहीं था, पाकिस्तान ने पुलवामा का हमला नहीं कराया, तो किसने कराया? आप आके कैमरे पे बोलिए।
While investigations are still on who was DSP Davinder Singh, while startling facts continue to shock, our political parties continue to split hair over Singh not being a Khan. Bureau Report, India Today.
The advisor to the Jammu and Kashmir police has said that Devinder Singh will be treated like any other terrorist, that he'll have no special leniency because he's from the forces, and this case has been handed over to the National Investigation Agency. Before I kickstart tonight's big debate, I want to take a look at where the probe is at this time. Where was Devinder Singh when he was arrested? Who was with him? Where was he going? And most importantly, what was his motive behind having these high-ranking terrorists in his car? Sources involved in the investigation seem to suggest that he had a wedding coming up in his family, he needed money and therefore was willing to act as a courier for the terrorists. Is money what drove him, or is there something more sinister at play?
Three days after being arrested with two Hizbul Mujahideen terror suspects in Kulgam, Jammu and Kashmir DSP Davinder Singh is under the scanner for his alleged terror links. Police sources tell India Today the terror suspects accompanying Davinder Singh were allegedly planning blasts in Delhi and Chandigarh. Singh allegedly used multiple phones to direct terrorists. He was allegedly arranging their accommodation in the target cities.
किसी भी ऑर्गेनाइजेशन में ब्लैक शिप्स होती हैं, ये भी एक ब्लैक शिप थी, लेकिन ये क्रेडिट जाता है जम्मू एंड कश्मीर पुलिस के ऑफिसर्स को, जिन्होंने इस ब्लैक शिप उसको पहचाना और उसको पकड़ा।
Davinder Singh has had a controversial past. Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru had accused Singh of forcing him to help Jaish terrorist Mohammed, who was gunned down during the terror strike. The opposition has sought a fresh probe into the attack in Pulwama, where Singh was posted months earlier.
देविंदर सिंह डीएसपी जो उस समय डिप्टी एसपी डीआर पुलवामा में थे, पुलवामा के हमले जहां 42 जवानों की जान गई, उनसे क्या कनेक्शन है? क्या कहीं कोई व्यक्ति जो किसी ऐसे पद पर आसीन है जिसे इस देश के सुरक्षा मामलों की जानकारी है, कहीं देविंदर सिंह का उससे कोई कनेक्शन तो नहीं? अगर ऐसा है तो देश की सुरक्षा को और खतरा भी हो सकता है। इसलिए देश के गृह मंत्री को स्वयं इस पूरे मामले की तहकीकात करके देश को वक्तव्य देना चाहिए।
Why do you want to give clean chit to Pakistan? सवाल आज हिंदुस्तान पूछ रहा है कांग्रेस पार्टी से कि आप पाकिस्तान को क्लीन चिट देने की ये जो भरसर प्रयास है, कोई आज का प्रयास नहीं।
The Home Ministry has now asked the National Investigation Agency to take over the probe, with the Congress demanding fresh probe into Pulwama terror attacks. The politics over Davinder Singh's arrest is only likely to escalate. Bureau Report, India Today.
Is the opposition doing great disservice to this probe and to India's national security by suggesting that Devinder Singh was in some way linked to the Pulwama terror attack? As of now, there isn't an iota of evidence to suggest that Devinder Singh was involved in past supposedly false flag operations or that he was a double agent. Yet accusations flying thick and fast. Shouldn't you just allow the police to conduct a probe first? Now that the NIA is involved, let the police and the NIA do its job instead of flinging muck which ultimately makes India look bad. Joining us on the News Track Showdown, I want to welcome first, representing the ruling Bharatiya Janata Party, Gaurav Bhatia. With us at this time is Gahur Gilani. He's a political analyst in Srinagar. We've got Sunil Gupta. He's the author of the book Black Warrant. He's a former law officer of Tihar Jail. Remember, there's a big Afzal Guru angle as well, because Afzal Guru was convicted in the attack on India's parliament, wrote a letter and said in interviews that it is the same cop on whose behest he brought one of the terrorists to Delhi and gave him accommodation. So he alleged at that time that he was set up for all practical purposes by this same very officer who's now an accused in a terror case. Ashwini Kumar joins us. Ashwini has been a long-time colleague at the India Today group for 3 decades. He's looked at investigations and cases in Jammu and Kashmir. He's joining us as well. I want to go across first and foremost to Gaurav Bhatia, because the Congress and the opposition are demanding that the probe be widened. They're going to the extent of suggesting that Devinder Singh is a double agent, that it's under the BJP government that he got awards, merits, honors, and that because he's been accused since the time of Afzal Guru, he's been accused in corruption cases, therefore everything that he did, every terror attack that's happened, it should all now be brought under the purview of an investigation. Gaurav Bhatia.
Yeah, Rahul, first of all, let me make it very clear on your channel that the Ministry of Home Affairs has never recommended any award for the Deputy SP Devinder Singh that we are discussing right now. I would strongly condemn the way Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary again has tried to communalize the fight against terror by saying that if he was a Khan, then there would have been more reaction from the troll army or something to that effect. I think Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary should apologize to the country, and this is not the first time that he is making such an irresponsible statement. Just 2 days back, he was also seen commenting on the army chief. Before that, we all know when action was taken on Article 370, Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary went to the extent of saying that this matter is pending before the United Nations. Having said that, if he says that everything should be probed, probably Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary is not aware of the investigation process, but as a lawyer I can tell the Congress and Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary that when an investigating agency is probing an illegal act, an offence, then their powers are unlimited and they can always look into the new facts that come into being, or if they want to probe any specific angle. So Mr. Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary need not worry about that aspect. One more aspect which has been at the forefront is the casual approach of the Congress when it comes to fight against terror. Let's not forget that when Afzal Guru was to be hanged, Mr. Ghulam Nabi Azad, Rahul, at that time he was the Chief Minister of Kashmir, wrote to Manmohan Singh that, his mercy petition should be considered favorably. And even now, when Modi ji is ensuring that we deal with terrorism with an iron fist, it is the Congress which is trying to weaken our fight against terror, and this is highly deplorable.
Now, what I don't understand, Gauhar Gilani, is some of the criticism that's coming the way of the investigating agencies. Here you have the Jammu and Kashmir police that actually arrested one of their own. You have to give kudos to their DIG who was on the ground, on the barricade, who arrested Devinder Singh despite him being a police person, despite him saying that he was trying to get these terrorists arrested. He didn't believe him, he had him arrested. The case is now being transferred to the NIA, and the Ministry of Home Affairs has said that the investigation will be carried out in a thorough fashion. Therefore, at this moment, there is no basis to suggest that there is a skew in this investigation, or that they are trying to save someone, or that he is a double. None of this is established. Without there being a probe for the opposition to jump in and pounce on this fashion and cast so many aspersions, is that even appropriate, Gauhar Gilani?
See, Mr. Kanwal, here the case, it's a very sensitive case. As you said in your intro that, we have to treat someone innocent until proven guilty. But at the same time, Mr. Rahul, you have to understand that this cop has been named in a book named The Many Faces of Kashmiri Nationalism, which is written by Nandita Haksar, in which a letter from Afzal Guru is also quoted. And then at the time, it was being alleged that Mr. Singh forced Afzal Guru to transport one Muhammad to New Delhi, and then the parliament attack happened. So that is one. And second is about sheltering and also transporting militants in his vehicle, and his two residences. One belongs to his brother-in-law and one to himself in Indiranagar, which is a stone's throw away from sensitive 15 GOC Badami Bagh cantonment, where it is being alleged that he has kept Naveed Babu alias Babar Azam at his residence, and another militant and a lawyer who has gone to Pakistan on Indian passport 5 times. So you have to see the sensitivity of the case, that rifles have been recovered, hand grenades have been recovered from his possession at his residence, and pistols have been recovered. So to say, let's have the same standards when you have these casual conversations with Kashmiris, and then you are, in your sting operations, you blow that up and say these are guilty. So, let's be fair to all. But yes, the way the investigation is being handled at the moment, let's hope that it will be done and no person will be saved. And see, this is something very big. He was a very senior ranked officer, and he was not sheltering any common man. It is a deputy commander, literally the de facto chief of Hizbul Mujahideen, in his own vehicle, and it is being alleged that 140 kilometers were covered in his vehicle. And then last year also it is alleged that he has taken him to Jammu. And if you connect it to the Afzal Guru's letter, then it's a very, very serious matter that there could be some false flag operations also being carried out by J&K Police's own officers.
Kuldeep Khoda is the former Director General of Police. The opposition keeps insisting and harping on a false flag operation. Remember, that's Pakistan's language. When Pulwama happens, Uri happens, the first thing the Pakistani establishment says it's a false flag operation. Now you've got a decorated officer from the Jammu and Kashmir police who's been found carrying terrorists in his car. And the opposition is alleging false flag operation. Mr. Khoda, as somebody who commanded the police, how well did you know Devinder Singh? What do you make of the fact that there are high-level, high-value terrorists who are in his car? What do you think is going on here, sir?
Let me emphasize that while as this incident has happened, it is unfortunate and it has obviously brought lots of things in focus. But at the same time, we should not ignore the sacrifices made by around 1,700 officers and men of J&K police in the line of duty for the integrity of the country. And we cannot, brush that aside and just focus on one bad egg or one black sheep who has brought bad name to the police. So obviously, whereas action is required to be taken on this issue, which has instantly been worked out by the J&K police itself and also acted upon and the officer arrested. So it doesn't leave any scope for any speculation.
To make of the opposition's insinuation and the charge that he was a double agent, that he was somehow working at the behest of central government intelligence agencies. What do you make of that charge? Do you think he did it possibly because of money, because he had a wedding in his family, he needed resources? Or do you think that this charge of being a double agent is something that needs to be investigated?
I think whereas all leads need to be investigated, including the one of 2013, wherein Afzal Guru's lawyer had also indicated his involvement. But at the same time, we cannot say that he was a sort of double agent who was working on two fronts. Whereas in the official duty, he was putting on the uniform and working on his job. But at the same time, he was working for the militants. And obviously, as it turns out, prima facie, it turns out that he was getting money for it. And the Hawala angle of it has also to be probed, for which various intelligence agencies, including the Central Enforcement Directorate, needs to come in. And in any case, at the moment, the military intelligence, the IB, the RAW, all are at it. And I'm sure that the case will be worked out to its finest details. And action against all those involved who are in it.
Whether put out for our viewers that Devinder Singh had a very checkered past. So it's not just the charge that he is the one who got Afzal Guru. And I'll read out from that letter. I have with me a copy of that letter which Afzal Guru wrote to his lawyer. The lawyer is Sushil Kumar. Afzal Guru is writing to his Supreme Court lawyer. This is in October 2006. And in page 3, I'll read out the operative part. He says, I was taken to Dravinder Singh, DSP, which is basically Devinder Singh. And Devinder Singh told me that I had to do a small job for him. I have to take one man to Delhi, as I was well aware about Delhi, and had to manage a rented house for him. Since I didn't know the man, but I suspected that this man is not Kashmiri, as he did not speak Kashmiri, I was helpless, but I had to do what Devinder told me to. I took him to Delhi. Then I was asked to purchase a car for him. Then I went to Karol Bagh. I purchased the car for him. Then he went to Delhi. So basically, and I want to bring Sunil Gupta in because he's looked at this case. He's written a book on the Tihar jail. What do you think of the Afzal Guru charge? Because why this wasn't considered is because this letter was written and Afzal Guru brought this matter up only after his conviction. When the case was being tried, he never mentioned DSP Devinder Singh. Only after he was convicted, he brought this up. What do you make of it, Sunil Gupta?
Yeah, basically, it could be motivated. At times, what happened, that if someone is honest, I'm just telling you, if someone is honest, the false charges are hurled against that person. So it could be of that type. But I will say that since NIA is probing the charge, we should await what they say.
The problem here, Gaurav Bhatia, is that despite having a checkered past, it's not just the charge leveled by Afzal Guru. In 2007, there were allegations of corruption against him when he was in the Special Operations Group. He was suspended and later transferred to the police control room. I understand a little bit about how the police works. When somebody is sent to the PCR, somebody who's in the Special Operations Group, it primarily means that prima facie you think that there is some merit to that charge. So he's posted in traffic police in 2014. In 2019, he's given the President's Medal for Meritorious Service. He's posted in the anti-hijack squad, and those pictures are now very prominent. When that whole delegation of envoys reaches Srinagar and is received at that tarmac, Devinder Singh is standing in the corner in that photograph. So if somebody had such a checkered past, how is it he's getting promotions? How is it that in 2019 he's getting medals and awards?
That's a very valid question. But let me say this, Rahul, that be it the central government or the state government, when they act keeping in mind all the facts that are before them. And to assume that, in spite of a checkered history, or there were certain things that needed to be looked into but were overlooked, and a decision was taken would not be fair to the government. I have already made it clear that the central government, for sure, never ever awarded him with any gallantry medal. And let me now come to the real issue. When we fight against terrorism, there needs to be a unified fight, be it the government or the opposition. And that is completely missing because Congress has time and again tried to trivialize, communalize and politicize the fight against terrorism. And the examples that I am giving, do you remember when there was Samjhauta Blast Express case? The Congress got leads from the US intelligence that Arif Kasmani, a Pakistan terrorist, is involved. But the Congress government decided to coin the term Hindu terror because it suited them politically. The same thing happened after Pulwama attack, a dastardly act. The nation should have stood together. But just 2 hours after the attack, Randeep Surjewala was seen doing a press conference and later he said it is due to homegrown terrorism. Now, does it strengthen our fight against terrorism? The answer is a categorical no. And today, what Adhir Ranjan Chaudhary again has done is very sad, and I feel the Congress needs to be more responsible, especially when they are in the opposition.
I want to ask Ashwini Kumar, because Ashwini has literally seen Devinder Singh's career, the ups and downs, his good days and his bad days. Ashwini, as a long-time reporter in Jammu and Kashmir, what can you tell our viewers about Devinder Singh and the kind of checkered career that he had?
Yeah, Rahulji, I have talked to some of the senior officers with whom Devinder Singh has worked as an operational officer. He was recruited in 94-95 as a sub-inspector. During probation period, one more colleague, they captured some heroin and they exchanged the heroin, and the money was captured by these people and they were going to be dismissed. But they both were very cunning officers. Still, I talked to some of his senior officers. They said they were very cunning and they met one of the senior officers, SSB rank, who was in charge of the operation. They said, please don't dismiss us, but we'll work with the SOG. And the officers used them for the operational in Kashmir Valley. They worked around, he was also attacked by the terrorist, and the other officer of Kashmir, he was also attacked, but they fought with the militants and they killed some of the militants. But his career was very double agent work type. He was very cunning, very sharp and very arrogant also, as per his senior officers with whom he worked. And there was a time that he was shunted out from the regular SOG people and he was kept in the control room. He worked in the Badgam, he worked in the Srinagar, mostly with the SOG. And the police is investigating that how his daughter got the MBBS seat in the Bangladesh. A very junior officer. DSP is a very junior officer. I don't know how the people are saying very senior officer.
Khoda, respond to this. There are certain things I find incredulous. There are reports that he built a house, the estimate value of which, according to locals, is about 3 crore rupees. It's next to the 15 Corps headquarters at Badami Bagh. And his daughter is studying in Bangladesh. Now, if it's a very senior IPS officer, it would still be slightly odd to have your daughter studying at a big college in Bangladesh. Ashwini says there were instances when he was caught with heroin, when he was virtually found guilty of corruption, which is why he was suspended and transferred. How does this man continue in his job, keep getting promotions and end up with awards of merit? It makes no sense.
No, obviously certain things have been missed, and there's an unwritten SOP while posting the police officers, especially at that level of the DOSP and above, and even at some inspector and sub-inspector level, where scrutiny of the records and scrutiny of reputation which generally an officer carries with him. Because generally the senior officers know their junior officers because we live in a very composite manner. day in and day out, almost 24 hours, that reputation of officer is generally known. So obviously certain things have been missed and he got posted on a sensitive assignment like anti-hijacking at the airport. So, but obviously people with some sort of track record which was not which was not enviable, which has been missed and he got posted there. And generally we try to avoid...
One second, Mr. Koda, with a lot of respect to you, this kind of a thing can't get missed. You know, I've spent many years growing up in Jammu and Kashmir. An officer's reputation in any state, and especially in Jammu and Kashmir, precedes himself. So it can't be that you didn't know his background and therefore posted him in a sensitive position. That's simply impossible, Mr. Koda. And if you're honest, you'll admit that.
I agree with you, Rahul, totally, that he should not have been posted there, keeping in view some of the things which were, of course, not established. But there were certain complaints. We generally, as a sort of unwritten rule, we try to avoid people with some sort of background, whether verified or unverified. We try to avoid them posting on postings. They're like intelligence, the field postings and SOG, or for that matter, security.
How do you respond, Mr. Koda, to the opposition's direct charge of Devinder Singh being a double agent and therefore this requiring a far bigger probe? If you know you're accepting that it's very odd that somebody with such a dubious past gets a posting as sensitive as this. He's winning gallantry awards as well. How do you respond to the charge of him being a double agent?
No, it is unfair that we presume that the probe will not be carried out. The probe will be carried out. Nothing can be hidden. The NIA has also come in, and there are other intelligence agencies also which are on the job. So obviously, whatever is found, whatever links are found, whatever
Gilani, that's important. You know, it's very easy to do kite flying and insinuation, but the fact is that the NIA has taken over. And there is absolutely nothing in the realm at this moment to suggest that there will not be an honest probe. So when the opposition casts the kind of aspersions that it is, that's really unfair. You don't know where this probe is going. At this moment, there is absolutely nothing to suggest that this will not be an honest and thorough probe. They caught the guy. That by itself is a big deal. If he was a double agent, they would have let him go. They wouldn't have caught him.
Absolutely. It is very unfair to presume certain things, and also trying to put communal angle to the in the forces. That is very irresponsible and unfair and not in the interest of the cohesive working of the force and not in the national interest.
Gawhar Gilani, that this is really unfair to say if he was Devinder Khan, then the RSS trolls would be against him. I think that's really wrong, because the fact is they arrested him. They caught him. You know, very often in such situations, they may have picked up the terrorist and let the cop go, but they didn't. They caught him. That by itself is the biggest proof. Gawhar Gilani.
See, Rahul, three things are very important and you should not miss them. You know, first is who is Naveed Babu? Naveed Babu is basically a guy from Shupaiya, and he was himself in the police department. He was working in the police department, and there have been multiple instances wherein SPOs, special police officers, have fled from their ranks, and they have deserted the police and decamped with rifles. And this Naveed was one of those guys who from Budgam district, Central Kashmir's Budgam district, fled from police and took rifles with him. And it is around the same time when Mr. Singh was posted in Budgam. That is point number one. Point number two is that this is the guy who received the foreign envoys, which, over a dozen foreign envoys at the Srinagar airport tarmac. And this is, how sensitive is this? And third, how can you ignore that he was not ferrying or transporting or sheltering a common man? He was sheltering and transporting a militant commander who is almost a de facto Hizbul Mujahideen commander. So, nobody is insinuating or assuming. These are the investigation, these are the findings by the J&K police itself. And it forced IGP, Mr. Vijay Kumar to say that he will be treated like a militant. So now if you see all these examples wherein SPOs have fled with rifles and then something of this happened, so this gives some meat to the argument that when people say that there are,
what you're saying, you use the word that the government was forced, the IGP was forced. One second, Gawhar Gilani, no one was forced. It's the Jammu and Kashmir police that in the course of doing its job actually went out and arrested him. They have transferred this case to the NIA. They are saying we'll treat him like a terrorist. none of this is forced. It's not under duress. It happened in the normal course of things. In fact, if they wanted to cover up, they would have never arrested this man in the first place.
No. See, you have to see the entire history. You yourself said that this guy has a certain past. He was caught with heroin. There was a case of extortion against him, and then he was also demoted. But then also he was promoted and given gallantry awards. So that has to be explained. How come that then some people make an argument that Jammu and Kashmir is a police state, and people from the police desert the police and decamp with rifles, and then some militant operations happen. So this is a question mark, and we have to answer these questions.
Okay, the one of the other angles that needs to be looked at, and that's somewhere where the India Today archives have come greatly in handy, because back in the day, we spoke to Afzal Guru's wife, who in the interview we did with her, leveled this charge that her husband, Afzal Guru, was brought to Delhi at the behest of Devinder Singh, and we never found out whether there was a detailed probe into that charge, whether that charge was true or not, and what was done with Devinder Singh's career later, because whatever happened because he was then caught of corruption charges, and it had nothing to do with the Afzal Guru charge. So what's the reality in that? Take a look at this report where we look back at the life and times of Devinder Singh.
A resident of Tral locality in Kashmir's Pulwama, Devinder joined J&K police in 1994 as a sub-inspector. The same year saw the Special Operation Group being formed in J&K to fight terror. Devinder was inducted into the SOG and got one promotion after another to become a DSP. His name was linked to terrorism after 2001 Parliament attack. Parliament attack convict Afzal Guru, who was executed in 2013, had claimed in a letter that Devinder had asked him to help Parliament attacker and Pakistani terrorist Mohammad's travel and stay in Delhi. The J&K police is now probing all angles.
ज्वाइंट इंट्रोगेशन चल रहा है, जिसमें हमारे सारे एजेंसी, सिक्योरिटी फोर्स, पुलिस, आईबी, रॉ, सीआईडी सबको इन्वॉल्व किए, इसीलिए किए हैं क्योंकि मामला सेंसिटिव है कि हम कोई भी इसमें नहीं चाहता है कि कोई लूपहोल रहे इसमें.
In 2006, Devinder was accused of extortion, leading to his removal from SOG and posting in J&K Traffic Police for 2 years. But in 2018, Devinder got a gallantry medal and was subsequently appointed as Chief of Anti-Hijacking Unit deployed at Srinagar Airport.
A meteoric rise followed by fall from grace. From a decorated cop who saw one promotion after another, Devinder Singh is now a terror accused. The big question is, how did he manage it to fool everyone for over 25 years? Ashrafani, for India Today in Srinagar.
Gaurav Bhatia, there are lots of things that just don't add up. Whatever happened to that charge, the wife levels against this officer, even if that charge is found to be true or not true, was there a probe? Will we ever know? And even if he wasn't found guilty, how does he keep progressing? You're saying the central government didn't give him an award last year, but at that time there was central government's rule in the state. So whether you gave it technically or not, it happened on your watch. So how is this guy who's highly dubious, very shady, been caught in the past, and he keeps getting rewarded and gets sensitive assignments? Mr. Bhatia.
Yes. See, your concern is well noted, Rahul. And as I said earlier, that when he would be probed and questioned, all aspects would be investigated into. And let me just give you an example between the strong-willed government led by Narendra Modi ji in their fight against terrorism and a weak government like the Congress. I'm giving you two examples. In 2011, NIA had registered a case for terror funding. After 16 months of probe, that case was closed by the Congress government under pressure. But what happened in the BJP government? I'm citing an example. People like Hafiz Syed, Syed Salahuddin and separatists were charged sheet after a thorough probe of 7 months, and after that now the trial is going on. Now this is to give you an example that terrorism has to be treated with an iron fist, And this government is doing that. Even in this case, Mr. Devendra Singh's case, the truth will come out and the court has to pronounce their verdict. But the NIA will extend all its cooperation to the court. There would be a thorough investigation even in this case.
Okay, do you accept that at this moment, Mr. Koda, is probably the best thing? Let's not get carried away. You know, let's not let imagination not get the better of how we're placed at this moment. Give the NIA, and the NIA has a pretty sterling reputation, give them an opportunity to establish the truth. Then look at whether there's a cover-up, not a cover-up. Don't begin with the premise that there won't be an honest probe, Mr. Koda.
Absolutely, you're not on point. And the issue is that the entire thing has been uncovered by the J&K police. The officer has been arrested by J&K police. Nobody has tried to cover up, and there's nothing to suggest that there will be any cover-up. And beyond that, we should not forget the sacrifices made by over 5,000 security force personnel, which includes about 1,700 officers and men of J&K police in protecting the integrity of the country in J&K. So one bad incident cannot be taken as a sort of speaking for the image of the J&K police. And it will be unfair to the martyrs and their families also.
I agree with that, because under very, very difficult circumstances, and I've seen this personally, officers and jawans of the Jammu and Kashmir police risking their life and limb do yeoman service to the security of this country. And even if there is one rotten apple, it doesn't mean that the police force itself is corrupted. There are several aspects of the Devendra Singh story that don't add up. Somebody with a checkered past, getting promotions, getting sensitive positions, it doesn't make sense. You know who's a crooked apple and who's fine. That's a problem. But don't imagine that the probe, and what the Congress did was wrong. Say, Pulwama may have been done by Devendra Singh. I mean, how does that make sense? You have no evidence to say that. Don't be unfair to India's security agencies. That's the worst thing any political party can do. Attacking the government may be your political compulsion, but don't hurt India's security agencies. Ultimately, they're the ones who caught Devendra Singh. If they wanted to orchestrate some elaborate cover-up, they would have never caught the guy in the first place. Now, let them do their job. I think that is key. For the time being, Gauhar Gilani, Gaurav Bhatia, Sunil Gupta, Ashwini Kumar, Kuldeep Koda for joining me on the News Track tonight. Thank you very much. I slip into a break. I'll have more for you on the other side. Stay with us.